Welcome to Grand Prix, your go-to channel for the fastest updates in Formula One. We've got 3 hot stories for you, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay ahead of the pack. Let's get started. Max Verstappen is gearing up for another intense weekend at Spa-Francorchamps, a circuit he has repeatedly named as one of his favorites on the Formula One calendar. But this year, the stakes are higher, and the context far more complex. Despite his personal affection for the Belgian track, Verstappen arrives not just with expectations of performance, but with a clear message: Red Bull needs to be perfect. In a recent interview, the 4-time world champion emphasized the demanding nature of Spa, a track notorious for its fast corners, unpredictable weather, and high-speed challenges. However, his focus quickly shifted to the internal state of the team. Verstappen didn't shy away from expressing the urgent need for Red Bull and himself to deliver a flawless weekend. With the team facing mounting pressure and inconsistent results in 2025, perfection is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. One of the biggest changes this weekend will be the absence of Christian Horner, the longtime Red Bull team principal. After more than 2 decades at the helm, Horner has officially stepped down, a move that comes amid growing tensions and reported internal dissatisfaction. Taking his place is Lohan Mekies, who now assumes control during one of the most sensitive moments in the team's recent history. Verstappen, in particular, has been vocal about the need for change, and according to German media, was directly involved in pushing for internal restructuring. Despite having a contract with Red Bull that runs through 2028, Verstappen's future is anything but certain. Speculation about a potential move to Mercedes in 2026 continues to gain traction, especially given the RB21's underwhelming performance so far this season. The car has lacked consistency, pace, and the kind of dominance Red Bull has grown accustomed to in recent years. That backdrop has fueled rumors that Verstappen's loyalty is conditional, and the removal of Horner may only be the beginning of broader changes demanded by the Dutch driver. Now, with Mekies at the helm, Verstappen says he's eager to begin this new chapter. But his expectations are crystal clear: no more errors, no more excuses. The team must execute flawlessly from the start of the weekend, particularly important given the sprint format of the Belgian Grand Prix. With only one free practice session before qualifying for the sprint race, there is virtually no room for mistakes or misjudgments. Verstappen stressed the importance of immediate cohesion within the team. Every setup adjustment must be precise. Every strategic decision must be calculated. The car must come out of the garage ready to compete from the very first lap. In his own words, perfection must begin now. Even under immense pressure, Verstappen remains confident. He highlighted the support of Belgian fans as a source of motivation and made it clear that he still believes in Red Bull's ability to turn the season around. But belief alone won't be enough. Spa will be the first true test of this new leadership dynamic, and everyone in the paddock will be watching closely. With all of this in mind, one critical question remains: is Verstappen right to demand this level of performance at this point in the season? Or would it be wiser to shift focus toward 2026 and begin preparing for the regulatory changes that could reset the playing field entirely? Whatever your view, one thing is certain: the pressure on Red Bull has never been higher, and Verstappen is not backing down. Whether this push for perfection leads to redemption or further frustration will depend on what unfolds over the next few race weekends. But if there's one place where drama is guaranteed, it's Spa. Red Bull arrives at the Belgian Grand Prix with a clear objective: to react and recover in the 2025 Formula One season. According to The Telegraph, the Austrian team rushed to complete a brand new front wing that will debut this weekend at Spa-Francorchamps. Despite the challenges of introducing such a significant update during a sprint weekend, with only one free practice session available, the team has decided to push forward, underlining the level of urgency they're facing. Weather forecasts indicate rain across all 3 days in Belgium, making track time even more limited. Still, Red Bull chose to proceed, hoping this change can restore some balance and grip to the RB21, a car that has, so far, struggled to match the performance of its rivals. The goal is to give Max Verstappen a more competitive tool to fight back, especially against McLaren, the team currently dominating the championship. Red Bull's 2025 campaign has been marred by technical issues that trace back to the conception of the RB21. The car has inherited several flaws from its predecessor, the RB20, and attempts to fix them through incremental updates in races such as Japan, Miami, and Austria have failed to bring consistent results. Many of these updates have focused on tailoring the car to Verstappen's unique driving style, but structural problems, particularly in aerodynamics and cornering balance, remain unresolved. Following this front-wing debut in Belgium, Red Bull has already planned another package of upgrades for the Hungarian Grand Prix, the last race before the summer break. These back-to-back updates are an attempt to finish the first half of the season with momentum. However, several analysts argue that Red Bull is merely patching a fundamentally flawed concept, and that no quick fix will truly resolve the core issues. Beyond technical challenges, the Belgian Grand Prix will also mark a historic and turbulent shift in the team's management. For the first time since Red Bull entered Formula One, Christian Horner will not be present as team principal. After a long and controversial period of internal conflict, Horner has been officially removed, and Lohan Mekies, formerly of W Racing, has stepped in as his replacement. While the leadership change brings some uncertainty, it may also signal a fresh start in a different direction in team strategy and morale. All of this unfolds under immense pressure, not only on the track, but also off it. Max Verstappen, the team star and three-time world champion, is now rumored to be in advanced talks with Mercedes. Some sources claim the deal is close to being finalized. Red Bull knows that in order to convince Verstappen to stay, not just for 2025, but also for the major regulation changes coming in 2026, they need to demonstrate they can still provide a championship-winning car. The question now is whether these updates, starting with the new front wing in Spa and followed by further modifications in Hungary, will be enough to close the gap to McLaren and return Red Bull to winning form. The second half of the season is rapidly approaching, and with it, the pressure to deliver meaningful results only grows. So far, Verstappen's exceptional skill has managed to mask some of the car's weaknesses, but even he has admitted that catching up this season may not be realistic. In some circuits, where aerodynamic efficiency is less critical, the RB21 might show glimpses of competitiveness. But for now, the sense in the paddock is that Red Bull's era of dominance is fading. The week began with one of the most anticipated updates in the Formula One paddock. Max Verstappen is expected to remain with Red Bull Racing. This decision significantly impacts the driver market, particularly for Mercedes, which had been awaiting clarity on Verstappen's plans before finalizing its own lineup for the 2026 season. According to the British newspaper Daily Mail, Mercedes is now moving ahead to secure contracts for both George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, with announcements expected in the coming days. George Russell, who joined Mercedes in 2022, has reportedly reached a verbal agreement with the team. The new contract is said to include a substantial salary increase, putting him among the top earners in Formula One. Although he had aimed for a deal on par with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, both earning over 50 million euros annually, Mercedes has offered around 30 million euros per year. While lower, the amount still places Russell alongside Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris in terms of earnings and solidifies his role as a key figure for Mercedes in the coming years. Some sources indicate that the final signing had been delayed due to minor contractual details, such as the number of promotional events Russell would be required to attend. However, the primary reason for the delay was Mercedes' wait for Verstappen's decision. Now that Red Bull appears to have retained their star driver, Russell's extension can proceed without obstacles. This step affirms the team's commitment to stability heading into the next regulatory cycle in 2026. As for Kimi Antonelli, the highly rated junior driver who has been part of Mercedes' development program, he is also expected to sign a contract soon. His deal would reportedly be for one season, with an option to renew for a second year. This structure gives Mercedes flexibility to revisit its lineup after 2026, in case Verstappen's plans change or new opportunities emerge. Antonelli's arrival would mark his official debut in Formula One, making him one of the youngest and most anticipated rookies on the grid. This driver pairing, Russell and Antonelli, represents a blend of proven talent and emerging potential. Russell, already experienced and consistent, is positioned to be the team's anchor. Antonelli, meanwhile, brings fresh energy and raw speed, with the expectation that he will quickly adapt to the demands of the highest level of motorsport. Mercedes appears to be betting on long-term growth, with eyes set on building a strong foundation before the 2026 regulation changes. The decisions being made now suggest that Mercedes is thinking strategically about the next few years. With Lewis Hamilton reportedly dissatisfied at Ferrari and Verstappen's long-term future still not entirely guaranteed, securing Russell and Antonelli allows Mercedes to maintain competitiveness while staying agile. By committing to this duo now, they ensure continuity and flexibility, which may prove critical if the driver market shifts again in 2027. Now that Verstappen's decision has been made, expect Mercedes to make its announcements official soon. The driver market is settling, and all eyes are on how these pairings will shape the future of Formula One.